Houston Texans will travel to the Denver Broncos on Monday, October 24th in Week 7 NFL action. With a dropping total, points would seem to be at a premium on Monday Night Football between the Texans and the Broncos, but the initial hit on the line was to push it through the key number of 7. We'll have to see how this line movement will play out during the week, but with 2 primetime performances in Week 6, we know that these teams were under the watchful eyes of bettors in their previous matchups. Denver is still favored by more than a touchdown at home in a game with plenty of storylines. The Houston Texans are off to a 4-2 start and a commanding lead in the AFC South Division, but they're just 3-2-1 against the spread thus far. Houston has gone 2-1 as an underdog this season, and they're sure to be one here this week. Bill O'Brien's team may be turning it around a little bit offensively, with 3 straight overs after 3 straight unders to open the year. Brock Osweiler gets a crack at his former team in what is probably the biggest storyline. Osweiler got a big commitment from Houston in the offseason, and he's been disappointing so far. He's shown flashes like the comeback win over the Colts last week, but he's completed less than 60% of his passes and has an 8-8 touchdown interception ratio with 12 sacks. He has not been able to throw downfield very often, and his footwork in the pocket has been terrible. Lamar Miller has been a little bit inconsistent in the running game, but the Texans are around average with 4.2 yards per carry. Will Fuller missed the last game for Houston, and his status is very important since he is the yin to DeAndre Hopkins' yang. It's the defense that has stood out for the Texans. They have not forced many turnovers, and now they're dealing with the loss of Kevin Johnson, but the Texans still have 16 sacks this season. The loss of J.J. Watt was a significant blow, but Jadeveon Clowney looks like a former first overall pick. With a good pass rush, Houston has held opposing quarterbacks to a completion percentage of 58.5%. If the Texans could get a few more takeaways, it would really benefit the pedestrian offense in a big way. The Denver Broncos started 4-0 both straight up and against the spread, but they have dropped their last 2 in each category. Losses to Atlanta and San Diego have brought the reigning Super Bowl champs back to earth. A lack of offense is a big reason why, as the Broncos bring a 3-game under streak into this game. Trevor Siemian looks pretty decent running the offense, completing 65% of his passes with a 7-3 touchdown interception ratio. The Broncos have had some protection problems with 17 sacks allowed, but that's also an inexperienced thing with the quarterbacks. Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders are both having big seasons with over 400 receiving yards, which has been helpful in offsetting a lackluster running game. C.J. Anderson has only picked up 3.5 yards per carry on the year, and the Broncos have only 2 explosive plays in the ground game. Like you would expect, the Denver defense is excellent. They have recorded 21 sacks this season and have held opposing quarterbacks to a 56.1% completion rate. The run defense has allowed a couple of long scampers, but they have mostly been solid. Denver is 3rd in yards per play allowed with just 4.6, and they have more interceptions than passing touchdowns allowed. The team also has the highest sack percentage in the NFL, and that will be a big key to this game with Brock Osweiler in the opposing pocket. There's a chance that you can catch a 7 with extra juice out there in the marketplace before the public buys in with Denver later in the week. The Broncos are coming off back-to-back losses in very difficult spots. They had to send out Paxton Lynch in one of those games and travel on a short week to a division rival without their head coach. This is a good spot for them with some extra prep time to get healthy and cure some of the ills on defense. Houston is just too inconsistent offensively right now, and Trevor Siemian's mobility could be just enough to hold off that Texans pass rush. Our pick and prediction for this game is to take the Denver Broncos at -7.5 points. For our pick and prediction on this game and every other game this week, and a wealth of free stats and information, check out bangthebook.com.